belly flow. You can do this flow in the morning after you've been sleeping, lying still for hours, or at the end of your day when you've been sitting still for hours. This version will include more instruction. You'll also receive a version of the flow that is just the movements, so as you learn, you can play that shorter version. Make sure to pay attention to your body and how you feel throughout this, before, after, and during. If you feel any pinching, make sure to avoid going into that range of motion. Just make your circle smaller or back out of that stretch a little bit. As you begin to use this flow, it can feel a little uncomfortable. It shouldn't be painful. The more that you do it, the more that you practice it, the more range of motion that you're going to gain, the easier it will get, and the better you're going to feel. This is something that you can use every day, and I'm so excited to share it with you, so let's get started. We're going to start in child's pose, taking deep belly breaths. This is sort of set the mood, kind of see how your body's feeling, and it gets us used to breathing through our bellies rather through our chest, which can actually cause more tension in our shoulders and our neck. And just think how much we do that as we're working all day. So instead, we want to inhale and push out the belly, exhale, and let that belly sink back in. We're going to do that for inhale, count to 4, exhale, count to 4. Okay, for a child's pose, we're going to start on your knees and just fold over. You can let the knees fall apart a little bit for a slightly deeper stretch into the lower back. And remember, we are breathing through the belly, so inhale, exhale. Okay, we're going to take 5 deep breaths here. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. For our first movement, we will be standing, so let's go ahead and get back up on our feet. This first movement is for our neck. It's called a neck car. It's basically a rotation at the neck joint. So we're just going to make sure we're in a neutral position, that we're not slouching and or sticking our butts out too far. So just nice and straight. Try to keep the body there. Going to make sure that our neck is lined up here. So we're going to tuck our chin back and then down to the chest. Scrape the collarbone, chin to the right shoulder. I'm looking over my shoulder as far as I can. Then I'm going to dip my right ear back as if I'm dumping water out of it. Make a big half circle with my chin, tilting the left ear back, then bringing the chin to the shoulder and scraping the collarbone, kneading my chin to my chest again. So let's do that 2 more times, and then we'll do 3 rotations the other way. Chin to chest, scrape the collarbone, chin to shoulder, tilt the ear back, half circle with the chin, tilted ear, chin to shoulder, scrape the collarbone, chin to chest. Scrape the collarbone, chin to shoulder, tilt the ear, half circle with the chin, tilted ear, chin to shoulder, scrape the collarbone, chin to chest. Make sure that you aren't shrugging. Try to keep those shoulders relaxed and out of your ears. Let's go back the other way 3 times. Chin to chest, scrape the collarbone, chin to shoulder, tilt the ear, half circle with the chin, tilted ear, chin to shoulder, scrape the collarbone, chin to chest. 2 more times. Scrape the collarbone, chin to shoulder, tilted ear, half circle, tilted ear, chin to shoulder, scrape the collarbone, chin to chest. The last time, scrape the collarbone, chin to shoulder, tilt the ear, half circle, tilt the ear, chin to shoulder, scrape the collarbone, chin. This next movement is for our wrist. That certainly needs some TLC. So we're going to start with our elbows by our sides. Try not to overcompensate with using forearms, moving elbows, shrugging shoulders, and using fingers. We're just going to be moving at the wrist joints. Keep that palm flat. Imagine you're holding your phone and it's keeping your palm flat the whole time. We're going to start with the inside, then down, then out, which will be a very small movement, then up. And let's make sure that those fingers don't curl, trying to get us a little bit more flexion there. So in, down, out, up, in, down, out, up. One more time. In, down, out, up, in, reverse it, up, out, down, in, up, out, down, in, up, out, down. One more time. In, up, out, down. The problem with concentrating and trying to count all at the same time is that sometimes you lose track. That's okay. If you're really focused on the movement and you do more than 3 rotations each way, that's all right. Movement is for our scapula, which is our shoulder blades. What we're going to be trying to do here is not compensate too much with our shoulders. Really just trying to focus on moving the shoulder blade itself. We're also going to give ourselves the extra challenge of trying to keep the palms on the thighs. If you have more restriction, you'll notice that you might try to lean your elbow out, shrug your shoulders more to get more range. Your movement might be big, it might be small, it looks different for everyone. And to get better and get more range and get looser, just do it more. So let's start. I'm going to do, we'll do 3 rotations forward, 3 rotations back. I'm going to show you front, side, and back angle, and you can follow along with me. So we'll start with bringing our shoulder blades up, forward, down, and back. Try not to roll those shoulders too far forward. Going up, forward, down, and back. One more. Up, forward, down, and back. And to reverse it, we're going to go forward, up, back, slide that shoulder blade into your pocket, forward from the bottom position, up, back, slide that shoulder blade back into your pocket, forward, up, back, and down. All right, for our next movement, we are going to be working on the hips. This is called a Frogger rock. So we're going to get hands and knees, walk the knees out, flex the feet, 90 degrees here, 90 degrees here, elbows to the floor. Now only rock back as far as is comfortable for you. If this is uncomfortable for you right now, bring your knees in a little bit. We're going to do 10 reps, and we're going to rock forward and back, forward and back. And remember, only sit back as far as is comfortable for you. We've got 5 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, time to show some love to these hip flexors, which definitely needed after we have been sitting all the time. We sit in our cars, we sit at work, we sit at home. Let's move and groove and stretch our hip flexors. So we're gonna start in this kneeling, half kneeling position. We actually want to find the stretch, we actually want to posterior pelvic tilt. We want to tuck the tailbone in and under. So it's gonna look like this. I'm squeezing my glute, and I'm actually trying to like almost bring my hip bone up and back. You really feel that stretch just sitting here like this, rather than leaning forward and doing all this. Just tuck that tailbone, try to bring that hip up and back into you. Feel that stretch right here. Now we're gonna add some arm movements, so we can hit more than one part of our body at once. Bring that arm up to the side, reach over, up and in front of your face. Feel that stretch all the way down here. Okay, let's do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other side, posterior pelvic tilt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For the second movement in this position, we are going to actually twist at the upper back and the shoulder joint. So we're going to hit several things here at once. I want you to try to keep yourself in a more forward position. It is natural to move back a little bit. We're going to try to fight that as much as possible, just to get a little bit more mobility, a little bit more movement, independent, spine and hips independent of each other. So I'm going to place my hand here inside my knee just for some stability so I don't wobble too much. I'm going to start with my palm facing in, elbow to ear, then rotate my palm out. That way, when I twist at the upper back, it is actually facing in again. Then rotate back, elbow pit to the head, and then bring that hand down in front of you. Let's do 5 of these. Rotate, palm in, and back. That's 1, 2, trying to keep that hip facing forward and that stretch as much as possible here. 1 more. After this, I mean. And switch to the other side. Let's get that stretch going again. You could, of course, do your overhead reach and this all on one side without switching. It's just easier to show you this way. Bracing with this palm. My palm faces in on the left hand shoulder, or elbow pit to ear. Rotate out, twist at the upper back. Palm facing in. Okay, let's do 5. 1, 2, 5. Really hard to keep that stretch going. You just have to concentrate on it. All right, last move coming up next. Our last movement is spinal segmentation, which is basically cat-cow slowed way down. We're just making it more intentional and purposeful by imagining each vertebrae as we move into each position. Just imagine that there are fingers walking along your spine. The more that you do this, even with each repetition, you will feel like you're getting more movement out of it. It feels amazing after a long day and is excellent for your spinal health. So let's get into position. Palms under shoulders. Knees under hips. Elbow pits are facing out. We'll start by going into extension. And we'll start at the lumbar spine. So you're just gonna let that belly drop to the floor. Kind of stick your butt out. And slowly try to feel each vertebrae as you slowly drop the belly to the floor. Looking up into that middle back, chest to floor, head up. Sinking in between those shoulder blades. Then all the way back. Now start at the lumbar front up, suck that belly in. Just imagine your belly button is being drawn in. Slowly go to the back. Thoracic spine, press the floor away from you. Smash those palms into the floor. Pressing and pressing. Drop the head. Tucking the tailbone under. And just getting into the tallest flexion that you can. Then drop at the lumbar spine again. Tailbone sticks out. Let that belly sink to the floor. Slowly dropping the midsection to the floor. Chest to floor. Sinking between the shoulder blades. Arms are straight. Pulling the top of your head back to meet your tailbone. Now round through the lumbar spine again. Belly button drawn in. Up through the middle of the spine. Upper back. Pressing the floor away from you. Letting the head drop. Tucking the tailbone. Push, push, push. Drop one last time. We'll do 3 rotations here. Belly is sinking to the floor. Midsection sinking to the floor. Chest sinking to the floor. Stick your butt out. Drop that chest between the shoulder blades. Arms are straight. Elbow pits are out. Head drawn back. One more time. Round through the lumbar spine. Draw that belly in. Slowly rounding through the middle of the back. Upper back. Pressing the floor away from you. Drop the head. Tuck the tailbone. Press as hard as you can. Now we'll reverse it. And we're going to start with our neck. So we're going to bring our head up. Sink in. To the shoulder blades, and between the shoulder blades of your chest, head up. Slowly letting that midsection fall. And those ribs fall to the floor. Tailbone comes up. Belly sinking to the floor, head back. Now drop the head. Press into the floor. Shoulder blades coming apart. Pushing those ribs to the sky. Letting our lower back slowly round. Tucking the tailbone in. And hitting as high a flexion as we can. Now lift the head again. Sink between the shoulder blades. Ribs to the floor. Belly to the floor. Slowly rounding up the lumbar spine. Stick the butt out. Bring that head back. Drop the head. Press through the floor. Shoulder blades coming apart. Ribs to the sky. Each vertebrae at a time. Slowly rounding the lumbar spine. Lower back. Tucking the tailbone in, dropping that head more. One more time. Lift the head. Sink through the shoulder blades. Ribs to the floor. Belly to the floor. Tailbone comes up. Head draws back. Tailbone draws up and towards the head. Now drop the head. Press those palms through the floor. Spreading the shoulder blades apart. Ribs to the sky. Slowly rounding through the whole back here. Down to the lower back. Tucking that tailbone. Your biggest flexion here. And relax. Now you can sink back into child's pose. Let me get my hair out of my face here. Now let's sit back into child's pose and take 5 more deep breaths through the belly and out the nose to end our mobility flow. Inhale and exhale. All right, that wraps up our mobility flow. There is another version of just the flow included. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that this brings you some relaxation and some tension relief to your body. See you next time.